back with another episode of the Watch and Cut channel. My name's Alex. I'm going to be your host once again, as always. And today we're going to be talking about the HellRazor. This is actually my personal. This is the Midtech one. Already discussed the production version, and we've already discussed the full custom. Thanks to Dirk, actually, to both of those. But finally, we're going to be talking about mine. And this is one that Ed modded for me. Pretty cool. I really like this one. It only comes in a pouch. This is what it comes with. My chopper came kind of in the same pouch as well. So that's what you can expect when you buy one of these. So anyways, let's get right to the video.
We have such sights to show you. Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. I am pain.
Welcome back to the Watch and Cut channel. Now, we've discussed the HellRazor a couple of times, but in case you forgot, first with the P series.
Pain has a
Then,
face.
with the full custom version, one of the Black Death series.
Allow me to show it to you.
Both provided by my good buddy Dirk Warning. Go check out his channel if you haven't already. We'll put a link down below to his channel in this one. So go check him out and subscribe. Oh yeah, and I must remind you to also subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification so you know when you're up on the latest and greatest. So meet your maker, Ed Kim. Now, I've talked about Ed, and I encourage you to go check out my old videos for some information, but let's just cut the chase. He's a custom knife maker out of Chicago. You might have seen him on an early episode of Forged in Fire.
Rise to the challenge. Some will fall, but only the best will be crowned Forged in Fire champions.
I'm Ed Kim. I was a martial artist starting from a very young age, and I couldn't really afford the really high-end knives that I wanted, so I just started.
I recommend Ed because he's very accommodating to customers. Sure, sometimes he may take a while, kind of like other knife makers, so brace yourself. But at the same time, the customer service that he does provide has a personal touch, and he catered to all my issues. When all was said and done, I was a happy customer. As a matter of fact, I just bought another one recently. So let's meet the blade. The HellRazor Midtech. Truth be told, I was a bit skeptical about the design as I mentioned earlier, although I've known about it for years. I didn't intend to really have much interest in that model. Instead, I became a fan with the brand with Ed's other model, the Chopper. Dirk eventually ended up buying a production piece series and sent it to me despite my grumbles. And it turned out to actually be to my liking, to the point where I bought my own, which is where we're at today. So I bought a USA-made mid-tech version, a collaboration with Ed and another manufacturing company, although Ed does really all the finishing work. There's a really fine line between the build quality in the mid-techs and the full custom, in my opinion, other than the materials used, of course. So let's start off with the blade. It's a very unusual blade design, and this is where it gets polarizing for most. It seems to be modeled after a traditional straight razor with a bit of a twist. The blade has plenty of belly, sitting low, giving your knuckles plenty of clearance when cutting things on a flat surface. Another interesting thing about this blade is that Ed decided to go with a traditional V-grind, but incorporate a chisel edge. What I enjoy about a chisel edge is how thin it gets, and contrary to popular belief, it does actually cut better than a traditional V bevel. The blade length is a healthy 3.6 inches, and it's made from CPM 154, not to be confused with 154 CM. It's a great steel for corrosion resistance, from my experience, and I have years of experience with this stuff. This steel performs and holds an edge really well, and it's quite easy to get it back too. It's not a super steel, but it's an impressive steel, and it can hold a hardness between 60 to 64 HRC. The blade finish is a two-tone satin finish with an acid wash on the primary grind, and it's actually a great cutter. Next, let's move to the pivot. It's a traditional style pivot with a stainless steel hardware running on steel bearings. I like the action on this example. It's smooth and without much resistance. It doesn't slam shut, which is good because I don't want to lose my fingers. And still, it needs just a tiny bit of encouragement to get going, which makes the knife safer for novice users, in my opinion. So let's move on to the handle. I like the handle design. It's nothing really crazy to look at. It's not super complicated in shape. But when you put it in the hand, it surprisingly fills the hand comfortably. And it also feels substantial. A substantial feel to the handle means a substantial grip. It's built out of solid titanium with no lightning pockets, which is fine by me. This knife came originally in raw titanium, but I sent it to Ed to anodize it blue. One small issue I had with the handle was the pocket clip. It was shallow, and it looked plain. It made the knife sit really proud from the pocket as well. Not a lot of space for thicker pants. All those issues were resolved by a simple solution, which Ed incorporated by twisting the clip around to make it into a deep carry clip. It's not a lightweight construction, but it wasn't really intended to be. The knife weighs a nice healthy 6.7 ounces. It's definitely light enough to use as an everyday carry if you wanted it to be, but it's guaranteed to turn some heads if you pull it out of the pocket. So let's wrap this thing up. We've talked about the HellRazor in 2 other videos, and I suggest you go check those out too. The HellRazor is not my first choice to recommend to everybody as their only knife. It's a bit of a polarizing design, and it may scare some people with the blade shape. However, that's completely subjective, of course. As a knife, despite the way it looks, it works really well, much better than I ever expected. It's quite comfortable and ergonomic, despite the way it may look. The price is fair, and I really like the customer service. It's definitely a conversation starter, and for those reasons, I really like it. It's a bit heavy of a carry as a conventional EDC, but that problem can be solved by getting the P-Series version, which comes in carbon fiber or in a G10 liner lock version. Despite my early feelings about it, I definitely find myself carrying the HellRazor more often than I thought. Although the Midtech version is cool because it's made in the good old USA. And it comes more closer to the full custom variation than the P-Series in my opinion. Although this is the Midtech version, and it's really cool because it's made in the USA, I would probably point people towards the production version because it's definitely lighter, it's much cheaper to own, and there are various colors to suit your needs. You can still find these available sometimes online from Ed. However, the Midtechs and the customs are becoming tougher to find these days. And if you find one or see one, they're going to be dinosaurs soon to be extinct. So I recommend you pull the trigger and not think twice. However, they're not for everybody, but they're definitely for me. So it's only fair that I mention some of my gripes with this knife. And I really don't have many because I can't rate this knife as a standard EDC knife. I bought this knife because it's kind of crazy looking in the first place. So I'll try to be fair about what I say about it. But couple things to mention. First, the clip. It was terrible. It rode really high. It was very flat, and it looked like very low attention for detail. However, Ed did make it right by fixing the clip and turning it into a deep carry. Number 2, the attention to detail is a bit low. You can see the etched logo here is a bit faded and almost gone, which is the brand name. That's kind of important to show. Number 3, the weight. This is very subjective. I don't find it a big deal at 6.7 ounces, but to the vast majority on YouTube, they'll tell you that's pretty heavy. I'm going to tell you, it's not bad. Despite the 6.7 ounce weight, I still find myself carrying this thing pretty often. Keep posted on the Watch and Cut channel for some good old watch and cut entertainment. Until then, we'll see you next time. This is the Watch and Cut channel.